Eraserhead is my most spiritual film.
Why will elaborate on that?
No.
And I make films because I have not learned anything else.
Hello. This is the Emma of the Impact film podcast. I had the last part so you guys knew what this is about. I'm not only the pageant winner, but I also won Miss Congeniality. And my co-host today is...
Jeannine Da Bean here. Hi, thanks so much for having me. Happy to be your co-host today.
Happy to have you. And one of my rules is I have my co-hosts pick the movie, and it has to be a movie neither of us have seen. And you picked Naked Kiss, and I thought, how cute, or maybe how sexy. Was it any of those things?
Not really.
Oh. One of the things this film is remarkable is its opening scene, which is done by cinematographer Sam Cortez, which I know from the Real Study, you brought over Sam Cortez from Night of the Hunter.
Yes.
Charles Laughton's only, unfortunately, because it's such a great movie.
Yeah.
And it really draws you in, and actually Godard even paid homage to Sam Fuller, the director of this film, The Naked Kiss, in his early 60s films.
I found, like, we're opening with this woman doing this insane thing. She's beating the shit out of this man. And
that's not insane.
Well, exactly, right? We don't have any context, but it opens with this huge kind of action. And I love that my first thought was, what did this man do? Yes, I'm not judging her. I'm not blaming her. My first thought is, what did this man do?
That should always be the thought. What did he do?
Exactly. Like, her wig is falling off. What did this man do? And I loved that, just from a story perspective, like, we don't know what's happening in this scene, but immediately they establish this character's integrity because she takes his wallet. We think, oh, is she going to rob him? What's happening? She says he has $800 there. She says, no, I'm not taking all of this. I'm only taking what you owe me, $75, and I'm out of here. So without even knowing this character, without really knowing the context of the situation, the film sets us up to immediately like her, to know that she is a woman of integrity, that she has her reasons for doing this. That's all we need to know about this character going in once we learn more. So I love just those little details that just tell us what we need to know without even getting into too much of the plot right away.
There is so much about our main character, who's played by Constance Towers. Her name is Kelly. As you said, I love they opened up with, I'm just taking the 75 that's coming to me.
Yeah.
She's immediately established as a person that no matter how she might feel about herself or the world feels about her, she's a person that knows all I've got is my word. If I have my word, I have myself. And that establishes it perfectly. The film itself, boiled down, is Constance is a sex worker. We're pro-sex workers here. In the film, considered a prostitute. And she goes to a small town to be a Lindy, as they called it in the time, like the Lindenberg, going off on your own.
Oh,
you know?
Starting fresh,
Then she decides to completely start a new life. And I love the introduction of two very main characters. The characters I really like the interactions with the most. And the other character's name is Griff. And Griff considers himself... He is a lawman, but he's like the sheriff of this town, and he makes sure that no bad gets in or out. And that's very black and white. We're also told he's tone deaf. So we're introduced with Griff. He is sending off this young man onto the bus, and then he gets a phone call, and it basically implies he's only helping this kid because his brother was in his troop, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get out of town, and he had hurt a cop. They don't tell you, but it's obvious. He put a cop in the hospital.
Yes. He quietly handles situations, they establish.
He feels in control of the town, not in I'm Mr. in control, but I'm the lawman. I make sure this place is
smooth and easy. Yeah.
Clean. Yes. But while that guy's leaving on the bus, we see the doors open. The saxophone starts playing. And we heels first, bitch. And just with her suitcase, a woman just coming out of the bus.
Yeah.
And there she is, Constance Towers. And no, Kelly is her name.
Okay, you
And
tell me why.
I love her. Yeah, he can tell. It's told throughout the film that girls that come alone off the bus have a tendency to have a past. Constance Towers is in town. She ends up sitting on a bench with Griff, our sheriff. I'm just going to call him the sheriff, even though I don't think that's what he technically is, it?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's his title, but like he runs like a sheriff. If this was a Western, he would be the sheriff keeping order in the town. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She has this suitcase, and I was a little bit dumb when I first heard this. She has a suitcase of champagne, and she's selling angel foam. And he's, oh, what's angel foam? And she says, angel foam goes down like liquid gold and comes up like slow dynamite for the man of taste. I thought, are they trying to do a thing where it's like angel dust but foam?
Right?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's a different, it's a bodily foam. I was a little
Yeah, no, I was the same. I wasn't quite getting it at first.
Great. So he accepts the invitation.
Yeah.
He likes her. You can tell he respects her as a person.
He offers to let her stay a night, but just a night. Yeah.
Just a night, just enough. It's as long as she is, since she's a sex worker, she's within the places sex workers are supposed to be. He's fine with her. He even says, if you go to Candy's, you can be my itchy bon.
Right? Yeah, just go across there and be with Candy, and I can come see you when I want, and you'll be able to do all the things you want to do over there, but not
my
in
itchy
my
bon, which wasn't a chain at the time, which means number one. And she doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Before we introduce other characters, the struggle between Griff and Kelly is because she's not doing what he expects her to do, to go to Candy's, is that he expects something to be exposed about her. She's a liar. She's scum somehow.
Yeah, because she's in this life, she's immediately not a good.
There are good people and there are bad people.
Yeah.
And who's the next person we meet? Who's one of my favorite characters? We end up meeting Mac.
Oh, yes.
Josephine shows another one of Constance Towers' kindness, Kelly's kindness, because she just is going to rent a room from the scene.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. And they have a really cute interaction, and it already speaks to her taking those steps into wanting to have this better life. So she doesn't go where he thinks she's going to go, where maybe we think she's going to go. Because I do like her reaction to Griff when he just immediately suggests her going to Candy. She gets a little bit offended, but then she laughs it off, which then you already can sense this is probably something she constantly has to deal with, men telling her what's what. So she just laughs it off. But I like she veers in the completely opposite direction and finds this nice, cute little house, room for rent, meets this really sweet lady. She's expecting this woman to ask for her credentials and give her the 3rd degree like Griff did. But no, she's, oh no, all I need from you is this face. Yes. And so they have this really sweet kind of bond, and she lets her stay there. It's really cute.
I really liked Charlie. The seamstress, Mac, is her nickname. Josephine's her name. She says, oh, I should move Charlie, I guess. He'll bother you. And Kelly's Charlie. And so Charlie's kind of a representation. This is the early 1960s. There's still a lot of ripples from the Second World War and the Korean War, which has just ended. Oh, Charlie was the guy I was supposed to marry, and he went off. And then the president told me that he was gone, and I knew he was gone, but I still like to talk to Charlie. And then she has a moment in her face. She's, oh, this is something people are going to think is weird. But Kelly said, oh, Charlie can stay here.
Yeah,
maybe
I would love to talk to him. Yeah, so I love that she makes her feel comfortable. She doesn't make her feel judged or weird for talking to him. This ultimately ends up coming up later with Griff trying to shame her and say, you're like this whore living with the town virgin. So
yeah, that was mean.
So mean. I love another just little thing before we really know Kelly. I love that they pepper in just these interactions that show who she is as a person and what she's trying to work towards. So yeah, her probably knowing that feeling of being ostracized or made to feel weird about something is a comfort to this woman in this moment.
She hears about the hospital that's specifically for injured, disabled children, a lot of them probably from polio, a lot of them having operations on their legs. And she just like, that's where I belong.
Want to do. Yeah, she looks at this wheelchair and immediately knows that's what she wants to do. We established this is Grantville, run by this guy named Mr. Grant, and he's like this great benefactor. He does these wonderful things. She said she researched him and she saw him to be this playboy, and Mac is like, oh no, he does so many great things for the town and everybody loves him, and then brings up this hospital. So she goes there, and then we cut to a bit of a time jump. And when we flash back to Griff, he goes to Candy's looking for his number one girl.
Yeah, his Ichiban.
It is Ichiban. He's expecting her to be there, and she's not. Candy's like, I never got any girl named Kelly. What are you talking about? And so he's so confused because I sent her there. What else could she possibly be doing?
And we see an interview with the head nurse or so, and telling him about Kelly. Before he sees her working with the children, it's like, she was born to do this.
Oh, yeah.
She has a gift. And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess she's all sweet and nice. And she's actually tough on them, but in a way that's inspiring. And then he goes and see her work with the children, and then he accuses her of, are you going to have these girls? Yeah. Are you going to have these girls walking the street? She's like, you know what? Ask all the doctors if I've made any kind of move on them. Just do it.
To accuse her. He's quick to assume that she's there for the wrong reasons. Like, she could have gone to the place where she could have done those things, and she chose not to. So I hate Griff for having this prejudice and not being able to even just see, because he's literally witnessing this moment where she encourages this boy to try to touch his toes. He struggled with this. This is kind of him working so hard. He doesn't think he can do it. And she is there. She's patient with him. She encourages him to do it, and he does it. And it's this great moment, and he's so excited. Griff is witness to this, and he still bursts in there.
You whore.
Exactly. It's awful.
And if she, away from her job, was still doing something on the side, that's none of his business anyway. Exactly. But she's not. I think Grant's prejudice is just fired by the fact that things have to be black and white. This prostitute can't be somebody that is of her word and can do good things. Yeah. We primarily have these two characters, Griff and Kelly, and we've got Mac, and we've got a couple of the girls that are also nursing assistants at the hospital that we get to know later. But there's one of the singing moments in this movie that feels like it doesn't feel like that kind of movie. She's singing to the children alone.
Yeah, like Sound of Music in the middle of this film about a prostitute.
I'm a swan, and then your children can walk and run. Yes. That's basically the song.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem as silly as we're saying it, but so we see her blissful. This is where she feels she belongs, and all the children are hugging her. The moment that happens, we see Grant, and Grant is at his home, and the first thing he does is he throws a present at his manservant. Who seems uncomfortable. They've just come back from a lot of overseas business, and the manservant opens the gift, and he's like, "Is this for real?" And Grant's like, "Yeah, it's this ceremonial, and it's a human skull that you drink out of."
Yeah.
So we have the stark vision of her happy with the children, and maybe this guy isn't so good.
Weird about him. Something's a little off, which we'll later see Kelly recognize but ignore.
It gets to a point where there's this ball, and Mac, the seamstress, is invited, and she shows up a little tipsy. Love her for that.
Yes.
And when everyone's having a good time, what do you think about when they first meet each other at the party? It's just a general gathering.
So I like that it bothers Griff. I'm just happy to see him annoyed by something. So that was the only kind of reason I was liking Grant. connecting with Kelly in that way because I knew it was going to piss off Griff, and he's been terrible this whole movie so far. But we've also seen him be a bit of this playboy that she suggested he was, because he's giving gifts out to everyone at this party, and there's all these different girls from like all around the world that he's, I don't know, flown there to be at this party. There's a British girl and I think an Italian girl, and he's giving them all presents. And then as soon as he meets Kelly, he seemed like he's taken aback by her beauty, and obviously he has a gift for her too. So
that's something that stood out to me the second time I watched it. So the first time, of course, you think he's taken back by her beauty.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're going to find something out about Grant later.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something I expected.
No, me neither. I had to rewind it, but I was like, wait, did I miss?
What just happened? Yes. We'll get to that. But watching it another time, he sternly looks at her. He's taken aback. I think it's more than her beauty, because we'll find out what the naked kiss is later, where Kelly kind of figures something out through something like about Grant. Do you feel like he noticed that she's a sexual deviant of some sort? Because that's how this movie is very about, this is a sexual deviancy and this is a sexual deviancy. They're different, but they're the same, which we'll talk about how that's not correct later.
Yeah.
But it seems like he read in, oh, this girl's seeing some shit.
I think because she's new, she's pretty. Like, Griff was able to read her immediately. So I'm wondering if Grant maybe did the same thing, because when things are revealed, like, he doesn't seem incredibly shocked later. So I feel like maybe he did see something in her that he felt like connected to what is going on with him, now that you say that. Because, I think she's new, she's beautiful, she doesn't really fit in completely. And so I think that's what helped him perceive her differently.
So let me tell you about Sam. Sam Fuller, he directed The Virginian and some TV cowboy stuff, and he was a big old friend of John Ford. Constance Towers, when she's doing an interview reviewing back on when she would be in his films, Shock Corridor being the first one they did, is that sometimes on set, to get everyone's attention, he just shoot a gun into the air, and she's like, everyone loved it. And I'm like, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone thought that was a good time.
Yeah.
In his interviews, he's got this big old cigar. Oh, it's huge. It's huge. It's a huge cigar, and he talks with it, and he talks about the people he knows. He exaggerates. We saw Kelly, Constance Towers, her wig comes off in the beginning in that memorable scene, and he said she was just a pro, and that was the last thing we shot, and she shaved her head. And Constance Towers later, that was the first thing we shot, and I didn't shave my head. They were just really good at makeup. So that's Sam Fuller. But something interesting, besides Godard taking interest in him, Wim Wenders with like red 80s glasses kind of Wim Wenders. And he was saying that he likes Sam Fuller's work, and Scorsese later will say it. And that's why I think the saxophone sound somewhat reminds me of the saxophone kind of music that plays when Travis Bickle is driving through the street. But Wim Wenders is saying that about Shock Corridor and Naked Kiss is that Sam Fuller is probably one of the most American filmmakers, because he's showing you the truth.
Yeah.
And one of the scenes he points out is not from Naked Kiss. It's actually from Shock Corridor, but it is the same actress, Constance Towers, who plays Kelly. And she's doing a sexy burlesque show, but it's shot in a medium shot. It's not shot, this is glamorous. It's not like, this is how it would look like.
Yes, just very true to life, very real. Yeah. That's what I love about noir, and now this film being considered neo-noir, which is funny to think about a 60s movie feeling neo-noir. I love that it doesn't shy away from the dirtier side of life. And now that we're in the 60s, we're out of the Hays Code, we can get even more kind of grimy with the darkness
it's like
of
the fun 60s. It's that weird in-between time that happens with every new 10 years. Women at this time were actually starting to go to work even though they had
Yeah.
a family. 1960 is when we had the first birth control. Segregation is still happening in this time.
Yeah, we get talk
And-
of abortions in this film, which Kelly, I'm like, I didn't really like your advice on that, Kelly, but other than that.
we get why she
Yes.
it's in a more personal than political.
Yeah.
So Dusty is one of the other candy stripers, and we do find out that later on that she's pregnant, and eventually Kelly does start dating Grant, and she gives her $1,000, and she says, you go to that guy, and whether he's going to be part of the baby's life or not, have that baby. And we do find out that Kelly can't have children.
And her being around these kids, and we even saw it at the beginning of the film when she first arrives in town. She's walking down and she's watching these little girls play. She sees a baby in a bassinet. She goes
and when
down
she leaves, there's a baby in a bassinet. It's like, are these all movies? It's like people with babies.
Just leave their baby just sitting. Yeah, like somebody could.
There's no adult.
There's
like,
no
and then
one
someone's
around.
like touching their baby. Like,
Right?
I'm not
like,
somebody.
She gives it a bottle. Like,
I'm a cold bitch. I don't like human babies. I think of the Trunchbull when she's eating chocolate and she's much too good for
good
children.
for children.
I'm not.
Yes.
I have nothing against human babies. I'm not a gal
Not
that
for
wants
you.
to hold the baby. It's not for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
The other character I mentioned, Buff, she is also a nursing assistant, and she considers Griff basically
Father
her
figure.
dad. Father figure, since her dad died in the Korean War.
Yes.
She's like, I can't handle being around these sick kids. It's just not for
Yes,
me.
it's too hard. Yeah.
So she does end up going to Candy's, and Kelly goes to Candy, shoves $25 into Candy's mouth, and then, which I love how Candy looks. I hope I look like that when I'm an old lady.
Right.
Anyway, she has this
Yeah.
Candy a la carte. That's where the Bond girls are, and one of the main Bond girls is somebody that married Russ Meyer. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's not important at all. But so she gets Buff out of the situation. This young girl, Griff is like a father to her, and she says, you'll hate all men. The first time will be like every other time. And she says, you'll hate yourself because you'll become a social problem, a medical problem, a mental problem, and a despicable failure as a woman. So what do you think Kelly means by that? And do you think it's alluding to the fact she might have had an abortion or something where that messed up her ability to have children? And does that matter?
Yes, I feel like that is definitely where it stems from. Maybe her saying not to get the abortion, her desire to be there for these children. Yeah, I think it definitely stems from that. And also when she talks about the mental aspects, what an abortion can do to you mentally, medically, I think it plays into all of the things that she taught. Judgment that comes with that, no one really understanding. And she's already seen as a whore, and then throw this on top of it as well. It's like this brand on you. And that you can't really escape. Yeah, I think her painting that picture is the film's way of telling you that she's been through the very same thing.
Grant, it's Grantville. He's Grant, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that gave a manservant a skull to drink out of. They have a very quick romance, which in these movies at this time, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
He lays it on thick. Moonlight Sonata is playing. She's, oh, Moonlight Sonata. And,
Yeah.
oh, Lord Byron's my favorite poet. And he gives her
Yes.
that thing women want to hear. You're so beautiful and also so remarkable because you're also smart. Like, oh my.
This is a combination that you rarely find in a beautiful woman.
You're remarkable. A smart, beautiful woman.
Kelly,
You're
run!
like,
Run, Kelly, run!
run, Kelly, run! Oh, that is the line, and it's in the line to get into your panty line.
Yes.
But this is not the case here. He wants a wife.
Yeah.
She lets herself be charmed by him, and he's showing her this film of Venice he's been to. And she's just daydreaming about it. Naturally, they kiss.
Yeah, she's looking at him really strange. She almost goes out of body. We don't know what's happening, and something just looks off. And so we're wondering, like,
Is he a really bad kisser?
Yeah,
Is he salty? What's wrong?
Exactly. Was it gross? Did you not like it? It felt like it was bringing up some type of trauma. Is he reminding you of someone or something from your past? What is happening in this moment? So a lot mentally we can tell was happening with her, but we still don't know what ultimately goes with it.
This movie isn't subtle. You very much notice it. It's not like you have to look and see she looks uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable.
Yes.
And then she's like, can't be that.
Yeah.
It's right, because you want it to be
loved
true.
Man. Yeah, and this man that everybody in the town loves. He's this great benefactor. I wouldn't have the job I have without this wonderful hospital he created taking care of these children. I must be wrong. My radar must be off.
She tells him everything. She tells him, I'm a prostitute. When I first came here, I did have a client.
Yeah.
And puts it all out there. And he says, it doesn't, and then it's like a dream come true. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I love you. And I love that you love Griff being so mad. And why do all the men in this movie look the same to me?
They blend and blur a little bit. Yeah.
That dark 50s hair. Grant's a little more unusual looking, like he's gotten filler, but obviously in this time he hasn't. He has a weird face in a way.
Yeah.
No offense. Really? Yes. I'm not the only one that noticed.
I saw it, yeah.
It's weird because we also get a lot of close-ups of his face.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
But, so they're engaged to be married, and when Griff finds out,
yes.
He's ready to call Grant and call her out on everything.
Yes, because I thought that was going to be this looming thing, that Griff was just going to be kind of holding her hostage and blackmailing her the whole film. So the fact that she comes clean, again, just speaks to Kelly just knowing herself, doing the right thing on this really great moral path, that you don't have to adhere to society's rules of morality to know that you're a good person. She's fully aware of the things that she's done. She feels some type of guilt for the things that she's done, but inherently she knows she's a good person. So I love her coming clean to him. So I love that Griff doesn't have this to hold over her head. So that moment is such a sweet moment that comes around with this. Yes.
Especially the fact that she didn't name him as her first customer. Like, she didn't even involve him.
Expected her to.
F you.
So yeah.
That's the best kind of F you in life, I gotta say, is you were honest, you were yourself, and
now you have nothing against me. You have nothing to use against me. Yes. Grant, I think, asked Griff to be his best man.
He does.
And he doesn't want to answer. He's, no, I don't think so. And obviously Grant has no idea why. And then we see this little girl come up because she's the daughter of one of the people in the town. And she is offered the role of flower girl. So she's so excited. She runs up to Grant, scoops her up in his arms, and I love you, Mr. Grant and Uncle Grant.
Her name's Bunny, of course.
Yes. This little girl just loves her Uncle Grant. And that's when Griff goes to see Kelly after this, and he's ready to call her out and telling her, I think it's your time to leave town because I'm going to expose you. So just leave quietly. No one has to know. Grant, I won't tell him why you left, and this whole kind of thing. I love that she plays along at first because she doesn't need to do that. She could immediately tell him. Yeah, she could immediately tell him what she did, but no, she plays along. She's like, oh, I think it would be better coming from me. I'll call him right now. You're right. You're right. She calls Grant. She's waiting for him to get on the line from his secretary or whatever. She's, by the way, last night I told him everything and he didn't care. He wants to marry me anyway. Like I told him before we decided to get married. Suck it. Basically, Grant gets on the line and she's here. Griff has something to say to you. And Griff is, you're just a real lucky man. I just wanted to tell you.
I'll be your best man. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. You got a great girl here. So good that she played along and then just screwed him right at the last second. It was so good.
She did it perfectly. Yes. I probably would have been too excited to tell him, like, right. You know what? You know what I did?
Him, so you have nothing to hold over me. Yeah.
And one thing that stands out, because they really make a point of the music in this film, even though there's not actually a lot of music in it, is... when she was thinking with Charlie, having conversation with Charlie, the sewing model, is when she decides to go to Grant and tell him, I will marry you. I will do it. Because she's thinking, is this too good to be true?
Yeah, she has reservations and she doesn't really know why, but she just feels weird about it. She doesn't attribute it to that first feeling she had from that first kiss. She's attributing it to her worth and do I deserve it? I like that her reasoning was something completely different in the end. She realizes something in her gut was the thing that was having her have these reservations, not anything that she did. But that's what she thinks in this moment, that it's something she's done, her life choices in the past that make her not worthy for this, is what she thinks is holding her back.
And this is the first time she goes unannounced to Grant's house.
Yeah.
And Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is playing, and Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is also known as the Fate Symphony. And then Grant comes down in his ugly ass robe. A pattern that has this cheap shimmer. Aren't you rich?
Right? Yeah. Rich, small town rich, again.
I guess. It's ugly.
Yeah.
She agrees to marry him after the Fifth Symphony plays. We noticed earlier from the seamstress Mac, she's looking at all of the dresses that Kelly has, and she's like, have you been to Paris? This is an original. She has very expensive dresses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're just talking about their wedding, Grant and Kelly, and she's, nope, I'm gonna buy my dress. I've always bought or made every stitch.
Yes.
Well, look how serious I am about this.
I know, so intense.
Every stitch that's been on her body, like she's earned it one way or the other. And he's like, all right,
okay,
whatever.
Yeah. No, I love her determination in this moment to at least do this one thing. I'm not going to have you pay for it. He offered to send her to Paris to work with the best dressmaker. She no, I'm buying my own dress. I'm making my own dress.
I love Kelly, by the way. Like, I relate to Kelly a lot. I've never been in the industry, but the idea that my word is true, that's something nobody can take away from me. And some things are just maybe not important to other people, but it's important to me. I want this dress to be something that I have given myself, which Mac makes the dress. Of course she would. Yeah. So for folks that don't want the entire film to be ruined, you should log off now, because we're gonna talk about what the naked kiss. I'm so excited. I'm gonna show Grant my wedding dress.
He's expected to be home alone, working on things.
His ugly robe.
So he's not expecting her at all. So she goes over there, and we hear the music that's playing is the song that she sang with the children. So I'm like, is that playing?
Yeah, mommy dear, why are there tears in your eyes? Which we forgot to mention, there's another song with the children.
Yes.
That's sad.
And the children sing the song as well. So yeah, this is.
And he recorded it.
Yeah. So so
it's in his house.
Yes. So you don't really try to understand why this is playing right now. So the song is playing. She walks in. She's looking around for him. She can't find him anywhere. She turns around and she sees this little girl hiding. It's
stark. That cinematography reminds me of Night of the Hunter. It's boom, face of the little girl near the door. And you're like, what? What is
this little girl doing here? And then the song takes on this kind of ominous kind of nature when you see this little girl just like boom right in your face. And then she just runs off and leaves. And then here's Grant walking in, looking so guilty.
They reminded me of, not to the extent, because they're not using the same type of camera work, Michael Dante, who plays Grant, because shit, did he look like somebody that would be caught doing that? Or it reminded me of Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo falling. That's how much this, in the sweat on his weird face.
Yes, his weirdly sculpted face, his kind of bulging eyes, just like being caught. He looks like somebody who's been caught. Like, and it's just so insane, because I thought I missed something. So I'm like, wait, what I think
I rewinded it.
Can't be happening. Me too. I literally was like, did I miss something? This can't be what it's happening. What I think. And he immediately is, oh, I'm sorry. There's just something abnormal about me, but I love you, and I love you.
And you're abnormal too.
You're abnormal
he
too.
He equates it.
Yes, you get the same things that I get, and we can have a life together and live in this world together because we both understand each other's abnormalities. I had to be with someone like you because you would be the only person to understand this thing that's inside of me that I just can't help. Literally, he's using her as this kind of smoke screen to accept the gross things that he wants to do. So
he hurts children. I don't think we need to explain it further.
No.
He hurts children. And the fact that and it's such of the times that being a prostitute is somehow the same as being a pedophile. They don't relate at all. They do not relate. They do not equal same.
Yes, but
at all.
In his mind, they do.
And probably the townspeople too.
Yes, which complicates things further when Kelly is a boss and does not hesitate because he drops to his knees and he's like begging her, I love you. We can have this great life together. We understand each other. You're the only person I could ever be with. You're my perfect wife because you're abnormal just like me. You get why I am the way I am. And she is, what the fuck is happening right now?
Oh, and I love how swift it is.
Yes.
She picks up, it's not even a heavy phone. It looks plastic, and it's just one to his head, and he's dead to the ground.
Away, but we just hear how hard that hit him.
It wouldn't have happened this way logically, but it is nice to see. The wedding veil is somehow over him, and she's just in shock, and she's gathering her dress after she killed him.
Yes, it's like she hits him, it cuts away as the hit happens, we hear it, and then the veil just is draped over his face. Like her force opened the box and the dress fell out of it, and he's just draped like that. It's really a really cool looking shot. But just how quick she is with it. She's processed as much as she can in this moment what he's saying to her, that he's used her, that he's this disgusting human, that he's equating his disgusting actions to her. And though she sees herself a certain kind of way, she would never, ever equate.
Not the same at all.
And
not
so
the same realm.
Grabs that phone, hits him, and then she just sits in this chair trying to figure out what to do. She's just sat there in shock. Yeah.
Of course, Griff has her in custody. And of course, he canceled the wedding, and you were trying to, Candy comes in, and she makes up a lie. And he even brings in the old proprietor, as they say, her pimp that we see her beat the shit out of in the beginning. Yeah. And he's like, she stole $800 from me, which we know is not true. All these character witnesses.
Yeah.
And then it's Buff who goes to him privately and says, look, and tells the truth that Kelly helped her, that she was going to go work for Candy a la carte, and it was Kelly that took her out and said, you don't want this life.
Yeah, she lied at first.
She did, and that's when Constance is, we're not the right girl.
Yeah, I took pity on you. I took you under my wing. I wanted to help you to not go down the same path I did, and look what you're doing with it. You're lying on me, essentially. And so then she feels this kind of immense guilt. She's holding the picture of her father and she's crying. And she says she lied because she didn't want her father to shame him, the memory of her father, by being somebody who would do something like that, be involved in that life. So then she ultimately, the guilt overwhelms her, and she goes to Griff in the middle of the night, banging on his window. Hey, I need to talk to you right now. And ultimately tells him the truth. So that's when Griff finally becomes more favorable of trying to see Kelly's perspective and believe happened. Because at first he's already forming this narrative for her, trying to get her to confess to it.
Which was what happened even today. Yeah. Even if he didn't know Grant, they're gonna be like, you're a prostitute. Yes. Or you're an OnlyFans girl, and this rich guy, who are you?
We're going to believe the rich guy. Of course, you were only with him, gold digger, here for his money. You were a prostitute. I love the reveal. She kills him. She's sitting in the chair. And then we get Mac opening the newspaper, everyone kind of opening the newspaper. And we like, as they open the paper, Grant, we move to another person opening the paper, and I love how they reveal this headline through the townspeople. Prostitute. Yes. Yes.
That's like, okay, wow. Right? Why is that important?
very bold, and it just speaks to the quick judgment that comes with this whole kind of way of living. And just another cool text thing, because I think they also did at the beginning, which I loved, when they show her pimp trying to get himself together, and he's picking up money around a calendar that's sitting there, so we know the date. And then they immediately
July 4th.
Yes, and it immediately cuts to this banner of Grantville showing the date. So then we know how much time has passed just from visual things that are meant to be in the scene. So I love the kind of giving us information in these kind of cool visual ways with the text and stuff. So
yeah, Independence Day.
Yes, she's free. I like that's how we get our timeline. That reminded me of this scene, how they revealed this news.
I loved it too, because it makes it seem like
yes.
And she's this woman that they all have met in some way.
Yes, and helped the town, and she was so good to the children. They had so much respect for her, working at the hospital and all this stuff. And they're just so quick to just discount all of what they've seen from her because of this title that's been bestowed upon her. Once Buff kind of reveals the truth that she lied, then that finally gives Griff the motivation to, okay, maybe there's something to her story. Maybe I'm just being too harsh and my prejudices are getting in the way. This guy was my friend, so I don't want to believe the worst about him.
The worst. What are the worst things a human being can do? Like, what are the grossest, worst things you can do?
Exactly. I think this is where this questioning is where we get the reveal of the title meaning, right?
Oh, yes. She sees children playing in the alley, and I saw the little girl. Yeah. And then eventually they have, in front of the jailhouse, all these little girls come up, and she eventually identifies the correct one. Yes. She says, Uncle Grant, and it's the one that we saw before, Bunny. Yeah. Oh, Uncle Grant said this. It was a game.
He gave me some candy.
Him, told me
not to tell mommy or daddy or anybody. It was just a game, and then
clear.
Yes, and then you came in. So she came in before anything could happen.
I'm not quoting directly. It's a very Tennessee Williams thing to happen. Like, I'm just a cat on a hot tin roof. Yeah. Or I was really thinking about my life. And then suddenly last summer. Very Tennessee Williams, and I love it. Yes. I love it. So she's, because I didn't expect that, because I was thinking, what is the naked kiss? She tells us, I had met this guy before. Last I knew, he was in an asylum. And when Grant first kissed me, it was the same kiss, the naked kiss.
Yes, why she had that weird reaction when he first kissed her, because she was thinking about this person who did these terrible things and didn't understand why she was
hurts children.
This man. Yes, but that's the reluctance she was feeling about Grant the whole time. But she didn't put it together until that moment.
When she comes out of that jailhouse, what does it look like to you?
Nobody's cheering. Everyone's really quiet.
They look shocked.
Yes, I think they're shocked. They're also having trouble processing that Grant is this person. I think they're going through the shock that she felt after she killed Grant, or after she saw the little girl.
And she's a prostitute.
Yes. So them embracing her, knowing this about her now, and learning that their benefactor is this terrible person who do these terrible things, which Griff recorded the little girl saying that. So it's on record. I think it's a lot for them to process.
I think they resent her. Yes. Because she becomes a beacon of, we don't want to know that these things happen behind closed doors.
Like, we were living our lives. Yes, our town was so clean and nice and happy. Griff was
until you came, which is untrue.
Right? Griff was doing a good job keeping all the riffraff on the other side of the river and keeping all the nice stuff in our side of town. Now you've exposed this, you've tarnished the reputation of our benefactor who we loved so much, the founder of our town.
We'd rather have never known.
Yes, how do we go on knowing these things, knowing that our town is the town of a disgusting human being? So I think while they maybe can on some level respect her determination to stop somebody doing these terrible things.
Because you should.
Yeah, exactly. They are more concerned, I think, in this moment immediately at how their lives can continue. How this situation affects their day-to-day. I think that's why they're so stunned and silent when she comes out. They're like her when she sat in that chair and came to that realization of what this man was capable of.
I think she's just going to the next town. No town doesn't have its secrets. It's not a happy ending.
Yeah.
It's a neutral ending for her because
Yeah.
nothing's going to stick. She has this realization that it might be easier when you're in the slums because everyone identifies themselves and it's easier to determine who's who.
Yeah.
But when we're in a small town full of propriety and nothing bad happens here, especially in the early 60s, which we think what happens later on in the 60s. Between this film being filmed and coming out, JFK becomes president and is assassinated. Marilyn Monroe, she dies in 1962.
Yeah.
There's just a lot that happens. It's this omen of the later 60s that the 50s is the veil, because the 50s was shit too, but the veil that some people got to live, the veil that some people got to live under, that everything's okay and everyone's happy and has these families and bad things don't happen. They resent Kelly for it.
Yes.
And she leaves. She pets another baby that no one is supervising.
Yes. Right? And you're letting the prostitute touch. Like, yes. Griff, now that I think about it, Griff is from a 40s, 50s noir film when the Hays Code was still in place. Because in those films, you could depict darker things, but you also had to justify them. So the people
Kelly
who did,
would have,
the people who
punished.
Did the darker side of life, you could show it, but someone would have to be punished for it. You would have to end the movie with whoever did the thing, no matter how justified they were, they'd have to be punished in some way. So Griff is from that movie. Like, he got pulled out of a 50s, 40s Hays Code noir film and trickled his way into the 60s in this film, because that is.
Have you seen Kiss Me Deadly?
No.
Oh, when you see it, I want to know what you think. An unusual one. So you just answered a lot of a question I have for you. I'm going to ask you anyway. It's a question that has no real answer. A lot of the time, it's hard for me to consider what is a classic film, because this is not a film that you think of It's a Wonderful Life or Casablanca, the big ones that anybody would think of, or a noir, because there's a detective, but the main character isn't the usual character we think of in a noir. So how would you define this as a classic and as a noir, or would you?
I do co-host a classic films podcast. So our range of films is as early as you can go, and we don't go really later than the 70s. That's our range. Any of those films we consider classic films. In terms of noir, we did a whole Noirvember series. So all November long, we celebrate Noirvember and watch different types
What's
of
the name of that podcast again?
It's a Wonderful Podcast.
Ooh,
yes,
okay.
A nod to It's a Wonderful Life. I even just on my own did Celebrating Noirvember and watched a bunch of different kinds of films.
I love noirs. I love neo-noirs. It's one of my favorite genres besides horror, which is so connected.
Yes, because it's got this dark thriller element. It's really gritty and
it's political. All art is political.
Exactly. Whoever doesn't think that's crazy. But I think from that experience of watching more noirs, I've learned that while they do have their regular trope, they can play into different things. They don't have to play inside those lines. I think any film that dares to delve into this facade of propriety breaks that, shows characters who are flawed, who are gray, shows characters who see the world in a black and white and them clashing. I think those also play into elements of noir. So I don't think noirs have to be one set thing. There's always going to be elements that are clear and distinct and consistent, but there are also going to be ones that break out of that. But I think generally a neo-noir, a film that is not afraid to take a look at the grittier, darker side of humans and darker side of the world and life. So this film
like the ending to this film feels very much like Chinatown. Oh,
yeah,
that's awful.
I just walk away. What do I do? Yeah, it's just her walking down the street, and we get like our nice little closing full circle line as well. Because I think when
she'll be okay. That's what we know. She'll be okay.
Yes. First met Griff, he gave her $20 for a $10 bottle of champagne. And it was this whole thing with change.
Angel foam, excuse me.
Yes, angel foam.
$10 worth of angel foam.
Yes, and he's like, you owe me change. And she cutely says, I don't give change. So then when someone says to Griff as she's walking away, "Oh, she'll be back," and he says, "No, she doesn't give change." So I like this circle back to this line and that just also adds to the noir nature of our
That
character.
feels
Kind of
very
saying
noir.
a very kind of cool throwback line to something.
That's Chinatown.
As our characters walking away. Yes. Yeah.
That's always very interesting to me because I consider genre, even though I like to be persnickety about it because it's just part of my personality, it's irrelevant to me actually. But I love being divisive about it. So I really appreciate you. I do. I know it's irrelevant, but I love being divisive. Final question about the film. How did this film make you feel?
It made me feel
It's like a noir, okay.
yeah, it made me feel like proud to be a woman and proud for how women have evolved. Kelly is an innovator, even if she doesn't know it. And I love that she has this determination. She has this moral compass despite what she does and how society views her. I also love that they don't make her this wholly confident person, even though she's showing so many elements of that. She's still very insecure. She still judges herself. So
She's very real.
Yes. And so I love having this representation of being able to play to a bunch of different things, to not really pigeonhole yourself in a box. The realness of also feeling these insecurities about it, but also being really sure about yourself. It was just a nice reminder that even in moments where I don't feel fully sure of myself, where I'm insecure, where I'm judging myself for things, that shouldn't define me. I can still be a good person. I can still feel confidence and not feel guilt about that. I can still want good things for myself and know that I deserve good things, even if I'm not perfect. And so this film was just a nice reminder of that with this Kelly character.
Oh my God, that's so deep. I love that. You're going to make me tear up with it. So thank you for being my guest, and thank you for suggesting The Naked Kiss. Where can we find you?
You can find me at Jeannine Da Bean _ on Twitter, Jeannine Da Bean on all other platforms. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Blue Sky. And then, of course, I have my podcast feed with my wonderful co-host, Morgan Robinson. It's a wonderful podcast. We have several shows over there. So we have our Classic Films podcast. It's a wonderful podcast. We have another show called Morgan Hasn't Seen, where I force him to watch movies he hasn't seen because he hasn't seen a lot.
I love doing that.
Yes, so it's a lot of fun. I pick a theme or a genre or an actor each month, and we'll watch a series of films that I curate. So that's my baby on the channel. I curate those films. He curates all the films for the Classic Films podcast because he's the one who started that show. He had this huge passion for classic film, and kind of I got brought into that. I have since become an advocate for the classics.
And you can see her links below as well. Check them out.
Yes, please do.
And I haven't thought of an ending yet. And that's how I'm going to leave this one. Okay. But this has been the Impact Film Podcast. So you know what it is. It's a film podcast with me. And thank you for being my first guest.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful, and I'm going to have you back on the show, as I said earlier, as to when I'm better at this. You did great. You did start. Thank you. And goodbye, everybody. Till next time.
All practical effects.
All the stuff about the water, like everything. I want you to tell me everything. Because
that whole bit is her.
That's so good to know. Boxing Helena. You would only understand that if you've seen Boxing Helena.
Yeah, not
right. Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna run? There's no one else like you.